today, we are diving into a really important topic that affects everyone living in or dealing with organizations in Canada: anti-discrimination laws. It might sound a bit formal, but understanding your rights is crucial for ensuring fair treatment for yourself and others. So, let's break down what these laws are, how they protect you, and what you can do if you believe you've been discriminated against. First off, it's important to know that Canada has a two-level system for these laws. There are federal laws that apply across the whole country, and then each province and territory has its own specific human rights legislation. Think of it like a safety net with multiple layers of protection. At the top, we have the Canadian Human Rights Act. This is the main federal law that prohibits discrimination. It was created to ensure that everyone has an equal opportunity to make for themselves the life that they are able and wish to have. This act specifically protects people from discrimination based on 13 different grounds. These include things like your race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, age, sex, which includes pregnancy and childbirth, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, marital status, family status, genetic characteristics, disability, and conviction for an offense for which a pardon has been granted or record suspended. That's a comprehensive list designed to cover many aspects of who we are. Now, a key point about the Canadian Human Rights Act is that it applies to federal government departments and agencies, crown corporations, and federally regulated businesses. This includes major industries like banking, telecommunications, and interprovincial transportation, think airlines and cross-country trucking companies. So, if you work for a national bank or a federal government office, this is the primary law that protects you from discrimination at work. The enforcement of this federal act is handled by two independent bodies: the Canadian Human Rights Commission and the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal. We'll get into their specific roles a little later, but for now, just know they are the key players at the federal level. It's also worth mentioning the Canadian Bill of Rights. It's an older piece of legislation, but it also recognizes fundamental rights and freedoms, including protections against discrimination. Now, what about everything else? What if you work for a local restaurant, a retail store, or rent an apartment from a local landlord? That's where the second layer comes in: provincial and territorial human rights laws. Each of Canada's 10 provinces and 3 territories has its own human rights code or act. For instance, there is the Ontario Human Rights Code, the British Columbia Human Rights Code, and so on. These laws cover areas that fall under provincial or territorial jurisdiction, which includes most employment situations, housing rentals, and access to everyday goods and services. These provincial and territorial codes often mirror the federal protections but can sometimes offer even broader protections. They list similar prohibited grounds of discrimination like race, sex, disability, and age, and ensure that people are protected in their day-to-day lives within that specific region. So, whether you're in Halifax or Vancouver, there's a local human rights body responsible for upholding your rights. So, what kind of situations do these laws actually cover? They prohibit discrimination in several key areas of life. The big ones are employment, housing, and the provision of services, goods, and facilities. In employment, this means you can't be unfairly denied a job, a promotion, or be terminated based on one of the protected grounds. It also covers harassment in the workplace, which is a form of discrimination. This could be unwelcome comments or conduct related to someone's race, sex, or another protected ground that creates a hostile or intimidating work environment. In housing, it means a landlord can't refuse to rent you an apartment because of your family status, for example, because you have children, or because of your race or religion. And for services, it means you can't be denied service at a restaurant, a store, or a public facility because of a protected characteristic. These laws are all about ensuring equal opportunity and protecting people from unfair treatment in public life. Okay, so you know the laws exist, But what happens if you feel you've been a victim of discrimination? How is this system actually enforced? This is where the complaint process comes in. If you believe you've been discriminated against by a federally regulated organization, you can file a complaint with the Canadian Human Rights Commission. Anyone in Canada has this right. Let's walk through what that process generally looks like. It's important to remember that every case is unique, so the steps and timing can vary. Step 1 is filing the complaint. You have to fill out a complaint form and send it to the Canadian Human Rights Commission. You can do this online, by email, fax, or mail. There's no walk-in service, so it all has to be done remotely. Step 2 is the initial review. Once the commission receives your form, they'll look it over to see if it meets the necessary criteria. Does it fall under federal jurisdiction? Does it allege discrimination based on one of the 13 protected grounds? They might contact you for more information during this phase. If your complaint is accepted, you become the complainant, and the organization you're complaining about is the respondent. If it's not accepted, the commission will explain why. Step 3 is where the complaint is processed. If accepted, the commission will typically notify the respondent and ask for their side of the story. They gather information from both sides to get a full picture of the situation. Step 4 is an attempt at resolution through mediation or conciliation. The commission strongly encourages both parties to try and resolve the issue through mediation. This is a voluntary and confidential process where a neutral mediator helps you and the respondent discuss the issue and try to reach a settlement. It's a chance to resolve the complaint without it going further. In some cases, the commission might make this step mandatory, and when that happens, it's called conciliation. Step 5 is the assessment. If mediation doesn't work or isn't pursued, a human rights officer will conduct a more in-depth assessment of the complaint. They'll review all the information gathered from both you and the respondent. Finally, we have Step 6, the Commission's decision. This is a really important point to understand. The Commission itself does not decide if discrimination actually happened. Its job is to screen complaints. Based on its investigation, a commissioner will decide one of three things: to dismiss the complaint, to refer the complaint to conciliation if it hasn't happened already, or to send the complaint to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal for a full hearing. The tribunal is a separate, independent body that acts like a court. If your case is sent to the tribunal, this is where a formal hearing will take place. Both sides will present evidence and arguments, and it is the tribunal that will make the final, legally binding decision on whether discrimination occurred. If the tribunal finds that discrimination did happen, it can order a remedy. This could include financial compensation for the victim, or it could require the organization to change its policies or provide anti-discrimination training to its staff. Decisions made by the federal tribunal can be appealed to the Federal Court of Canada. Similarly, if you go through a provincial human rights process, the decisions of their tribunals can typically be appealed to that province's courts. This entire system, from the federal level down to the provincial and territorial levels, is designed to provide a framework for a more just and equal society. It gives individuals a powerful tool to stand up against unfair treatment and holds organizations accountable for their actions. It's not always a fast or easy process, but it is a fundamental part of our legal landscape. Understanding these rights is the first step in ensuring they are respected. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel you've been treated unfairly based on who you are, know that there are systems in place to help. You can visit the website of the Canadian Human Rights Commission or the Human Rights Commission in your specific province or territory for more detailed information and resources. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope this breakdown was helpful and empowering. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if there are other legal topics you'd like me to cover. Stay safe and stay informed.